What up, everybody? At the end of Raising Kanan Season 2, Sam the Basshead was trying to snitch on Kanan about shooting Howard to get out of jail. And there was something he said during his rant to pay close attention to. Kanan was about to go from a punk to a young bull. And this was definitely a clue, foreshadowing that Kanan is going to be growing up this season and turning into the man we watched in OG Power. So does this mean that Kanan will be raised this season? Nah, I'm not saying all that. But we will see Kanan on his own, becoming more mature and not making all the same foolish mistakes he was making as a kid. And we will see Kanan jumping off the porch, getting into the game, and finding his own hustle. And we already saw that young bull starting to come out a little bit in episode 1 as Kanan sent Detective Howard to handle Detective Burke. Then in the episode 2 trailer, Kanan was asking Rock if she thinks that cop really killed herself. Nah, Kanan, I don't. You sent your dad to handle her because she was a problem and knew that science. What did you think was going to happen to her? But if Kanan wants to stay independent and not moving back in with Rock, he got his own problems. The eviction notice on Famous's door. Now keep in mind that Rock never wanted Kanan to move out on his own in the first place. So she would love nothing more than for Kanan to fell out in the streets on his own and have to move back in with her. Plus, she already know neither him or Famous got a job and don't plan on getting one, so she got to know they gonna be getting into some illegal stuff to pay those bills. But there's no greater motivation in the game, or probably even life in general, than just surviving. And that's really what it's down to with Kanan and Famous, because they didn't even have anything to eat until Rock gave Famous the $100 to leave his apartment. Getting me to the episode 2 trailer, where there's a guy telling Kanan and Famous, always hiring. We also see Kanan and Famous stand outside in the hallway of the building that they live in, with Kanan telling Famous that they need the money. So the question is that Kanan's first plug? This looks like the same location from the Season 2 trailer where we saw Kanan handing out brown paper bags with bags of weed in them to those kids. But at the same time, do Kanan and Famous even have time to try to play the long game, hustling up their rent money, selling bags of weed? They were able to hustle up the rent money before when they were selling rocks on the street corner. But the big difference between these two situations is that they were still in that crack from Rock's operation. So everything that they took was all profit. They didn't have to pay nobody back for the work. But if they started working for this guy, they would be selling bags of weed and still have to pay the guy back for the money for getting the weed on consignment. When I first got into the game at the end of my junior year of high school, two guys a year older than me I played football with, and one of their friends was selling bags of Reggie Miller. And I threw down with them, and that's how I first got started in the game. But I didn't make no real money doing that. I was basically doing it just to smoke for free. Any money I might have made was basically pocket change used to buy bottles of liquor with. Then my moms put me out and I had to start hustling for real. But I still had to find my own plug before I started actually making any real money. So with that said, most likely the only person in that group who's actually making enough money to live off of is the white boy who told Kanan and Famous he's always hiring. So my question is, when Kanan told Famous they need the money, do they plan on working for this man or robbing him? Keep in mind that in OG Power, one of the big differences between Kanan and Ghost and Tommy was that Kanan was always hitting licks, while Ghost and Tommy mainly just stuck to the drug game. That was obviously because they were in completely different positions, but also lets us know Kanan was experienced at hitting licks from when he was younger. 50 Cent also gives us a clue that Kanan is going to do some work as a jack boy in the Raising Kanan intro song. He says, "If I'm not the coke man or the dope man, I'm almost for sure, man, I gotta take it. No need to say I gotta take it. Robberies turned homicide, it's nothing to play with. And we already saw one robbery turned homicide when Famous robbed Freddy and it went wrong and Famous caught his first body. Now keep in mind, Famous has kept it a G about this and he hasn't even told Kanan what happened. Not trying to brag about it like D-Wiz or D-Mac, none of that. And hopefully he also got rid of that strap. But it still might fall back on him because he got that strap from Kanan. But she can't really say anything because that would make her an accessory. So in order to pull that robbery off on this man, they would need a strap. So will this be how Kanan finds out about Famous bodying Freddy? Also keep in mind how during Force Season 2 that a lot of the promo videos weren't airing the complete sentences that the people were saying. So with that said, I also think there's a good chance that the guy is actually telling Kanan and Famous that his boss is always hiring. And this could be how they meet their first real plug, who I think will be Pops Henry, the wife of Ishmael Snaps Henry, the OG. Keep in mind that in a club scene from the Season 2 trailer, Snaps is telling Kanan business is booming. So I think Kanan will initially start working for Pops, but when they start excelling at moving weed, Snaps Henry will introduce himself to Kanan and take Kanan under his wing. Because the Season 3 description says that Snap will serve as a mentor to Kanan. Also, one thing we can almost guarantee based off the Season 3 trailer is sooner or later, Kanan is going to be running that same corner and the same hustle that the guy tells him he's always hiring on. Also, there's another promo clip where Rock is talking to an Asian man with a mullet and a mustache, telling him he got the ball, she got the players. Then he tells her she's not the only game in town. And she tells him that her team always wins. Also keep in mind there's a scene from the Season 2 trailer where Rock is telling Kanan he's done. What is the chances that that Asian guy becomes Kanan's plug and Rock plays him, then smokes him to try to get Kanan out the game? Because there's also the promo clip with Rock dressed in all black telling somebody that she told them that she never loses before smoking them. Getting me to the next question. Do Kanan and Famous drop out of high school? Currently they're at the end of their junior year of high school. And we already know from Season 2 that Famous had stopped going to school after getting kicked out of his mom's house. But Kanan was still going to school as far as we know, even though we didn't see him in any scenes at the school. But it did look like there was a bunch of kids in the background when Rock was telling Kanan he's done. So Kanan might still be going to school. And honestly, if him and Famous are in the weed game, they're probably going to do a lot better selling those bags of weed to their classmates than they would out there on the street corner. And one last thing before I go. They introduced a man named Sinrad, who Famous buys his weed from, and his son Romero this episode. Definitely be on the lookout for these two to come back into play at some point in time. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.